And now, Funko presents Inside the Artist Studio.
Welcome back to episode 2 of Inside the Artist Studio. I'm Ben.
And I'm Sean, and excited to be here and for our second episode.
Yep.
And to talk some more Funko. And check it out, Ben. We've
I
got
know.
some awesome product
Look at
here.
all this.
What a great collection of new toys from Funko, right?
Absolutely, and definitely, feels like what Funko's all about, and kind of reminds me of our word of the day, which is
nostalgia.
Yeah, nostalgia is a big part of what Funko is, and I was wondering, Sean, like what does nostalgia mean to you, and like how did that kind of help when you guys were starting Funko and what you were doing there?
Yeah, I mean, it's the influence of retro toys, it's retro collectibles, it's decor, it's kind of anything in that sort of 50s, 60s, 70s era that I think was my influences, and I know that was very much Mike Becker and Rob Schwartz, who were kind of early in the game, and it really built Funko, is what it was kind of based on. It was like taking old school stuff and kind of modernizing it and offering it to, a new group of collectors, if you will. Mm-hmm. And I know that you're a big collector of nostalgia and have always been influenced by that. So tell me a little bit about, what that was like for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you mentioned like the 50s, 60s, 70s cartoons. I grew up in the same time, loving all that stuff. Always looking for, products and figurines and anything from that time period. And, that kind of led me to Funko in a way, because I saw the original Wobblers and where your influence was. And I think we were all aligned on what we were loving at that time. So, so that kind of brought me in. And obviously what we have in front of us today is perfect for nostalgia. It really speaks to what Funko does so well, bringing these old influences and filtering through, what we do. And this leads to, I think we're going to have a guest, our very first guest on Inside the Artist Studio. And she's going to come talk about this a little more.
I think she's due here any second. So,
Oh,
there she is.
Did somebody say nostalgia?
Elise, there she is.
Hey, welcome
Hey, everybody.
to Inside
Hey,
the Artist
yeah.
Studio. So our first guest on Inside the Artist Studio is Elise Walters, and she's the genius behind all this amazing product line called Villainous Valentines. And we're going to talk to her a little bit about how she developed this, where ideas came from, and the whole process behind it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me and letting me bring my friends along. I can't wait to tell you guys all about them today.
Yeah, Elise, we are so excited that you're here. This really speaks to kind of what this show is about, of just introducing our fans to the whole process and our amazing team and just how we go about this. So thank you so much for taking the time to come here. I know they're going to love hearing from you. Talk to us about, when you first pitched this to us, like it was so fresh and it felt so unique. Like what was the inspiration and where did this come from your nostalgia and the things you love?
Right. So I've been into history for quite some time now. I grew up in the Midwest, and there's a lot of history there. There's great museums, awesome antique malls. And I got to give a big shout out to my parents for taking me to those antique malls and being willing to spend the time. And it led me to start antiquing. And when I would antique, I would see these cute animal characters at the store on the Valentine's cards and on children's books and things. And I wanted to start bringing some of that into my own style. And I thought, why don't I take this passion of mine and make something with it, because it's something I would want, so maybe someone else would want it. So thus the Villainous Valentines were born that day.
Cool. And did you maybe bring us some examples of
Yeah.
of your inspirations? And I know some of these retro Valentine's cards that we used to give away in our classrooms.
Yeah,
and
exactly. In the little paper bags.
Yeah,
in the
right.
front of your desk. I love that.
So yeah, I brought a whole bunch of
love
them with
these.
me. These are the ones I was talking about I was collecting since I was young. I love the ones with the cute animals especially, and just the corniest puns that you can imagine.
Right. And you'd always give the crappy one to the kid you didn't like, and save the really good one for that gal you were into in the first grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are great. I certainly see the influence from what you did, and that kind of leads us to our sort of next question is talk a little bit about creating this and how you took this old look and kind of, modernizing it while still holding on to that retro, and talk about your process when you applied it to yours.
Oh, absolutely, yes. So I'm lucky at Funko because you guys do embrace a lot of the retro and the historical, so I was able to get away with so much of this that I already love, but I did know that it would need something more, something modern, something fresh to it. So it started out actually, they were attached to a little chalkboard, and you could write something next to the chalkboard.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember that.
and,
Yeah.
and we kind of implied that it could be something dirty or naughty, like butts, you know, next to the next to this adorable cat. But we kept brainstorming it and hashing it out, and what we came up with eventually was to give them cute little, you know, weapons to hold. So they do have that vintage, cute, nostalgic charm, but there's a little twist to it.
Yeah.
I know you had a lot of inspiration for the animals. I know you're an animal lover. If you could talk about that a little bit, and then also kind of talk about the challenges of that contrast of cute and dangerous, and how we walk that fine line.
Oh, sure, yeah. I have always had animals in my life, so I do absolutely love animals. I even have pets nowadays. They're always on my lap while I create, including all of this. So combining that with the cute animal Valentines that I was collecting and the antique books about the cute little animal characters, it just, you know, it just was natural to me to create the Villainous Valentines and consisting of animal characters. And as far as the balance of cute and dangerous, it's definitely something I was concerned about because the world is definitely scary and violent right now, and I'm not looking to contribute to that. I love humor. It's my favorite coping mechanism, you could say. And I would say I kind of have this mental line in my head that I try not to cross with these guys, and it helps to imagine them in one of the old cartoons and, you know, how far would they take that? And sometimes I feel like maybe we get a little close to that line, but never try to cross it. Always try to keep it whimsical and lighthearted and fun. Something silly to look at, you know, like you wouldn't expect a cute little cat to have a bomb.
Right.
And actually, a little fun fact for the show, this cat was based on my childhood cat that I grew up with and inspired me to draw kind of in the first place. And if you collect the Paka Paka and you have that sheet that comes with it, it says that the cat's name is Cuddles, and that was indeed my childhood cat's name. So.
Yeah, what you mentioned, Elise, like that personal touch. The more we all put that in, the better the results are. And it does make it just a lot neater for the fans, the collectability and everything. And there's a story, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason behind everything. It's so important.
So wow, Elise, that was a lot of fun. Thank you for visiting us. And I know, again, we've got Series 2 coming out, so excited about that.
Oh gosh, yeah, speaking of, I gotta get back to that so we can get it out for next Valentine's Day. Thank you so much for having me, for the opportunity to make this, and to the fans for appreciating this project and letting our passions run wild. Thank you.
Awesome, Elise.
All right.
Thanks for visiting us.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Elise.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, we'll see ya.
Thank you.
Yep.
Wow, that was a lot of fun having Elise in here talking about her line, right?
Absolutely. And she answered so many of our questions about how this line got created. So now's our chance to answer some of the fans' questions. So let's see what our first question is for today.
Perfect.
What do you collect that is non-Funko? Which is perfect because, I mean, we all love Funko, but we also have all kinds of collections which inspire things we do. So Sean, like tell me about something you collect that's not Funko.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan of old school rubber toys and figures and plastic figures, mostly ones that are non-licensed, etc. Just really odd kind of animals. And sort of sometimes the creepier or odder the better for me.
Absolutely.
How about you? What's your thing?
You know, the main one that comes to mind is these old chalkware banks from Japan. Like they're great. I mean, they're non-licensed, most
I
of
got a
them.
few of
Yeah,
those.
you got a few. I know we've talked about it. I mean, they're brightly colored. They do variants. Like they'll do one kind of and do all these
Right.
color. And like, I just find so much joy and inspiration from looking at those, and just remind me of just how wonderful and colorful all this should be. What we do. So.
All right, that was good stuff. Now our second question is, how did you find Funko? Well, that's kind of a question for you because I pretty much was born in Funko.
I was gonna say, like, I found you.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, talk about how you kind of first discovered it before you ended up being VP over here.
Yeah, so early on we were talking about just collecting and how we grew up with a lot of the same stuff, and you know, part of that led to the store Sparky's, which I know is in the documentary, and it's a big part of the origins of Funko. I didn't know that at the time, but that was where you guys had so much of your product, and I went
first
there.
ones to carry our stuff. Right?
Yeah, and I found these old wobblers, your ad figures, things that no one else was making, right? There was Hanna-Barbera, and I remember starting to get those and had them on my desk, and those carried with me in all my jobs, and then getting a chance to work with you guys and meet you, I mean, it was meant to be, I think. I think things happen for a reason, and being able to find that and loving some of the same things that you love.
Interests kind of coming
just
together
all that
and
nostalgia,
all that.
you know. So.
And those were the early days before ad figures and retro characters were kind of the hit and the trend. So, you know, and you had to kind of dig and hunt to find those kind of things back in the day.
Right, absolutely.
All right, so here's our final segment of the show. We're taking a look at fan art, and always excited about this to see what you guys are working on and send it in. So let's see what we got.
Yeah, let's take a look.
It's from Austin Kill. You know, we know Austin, a big fan and a great artist. So
Absolutely. Boogie Nights. Also, this is a Paka Paka idea, which is perfect.
Right,
What we're talking about
very
today with
fits the
Villainous.
whole
Yeah.
conversation here. And
Oh man, look at that.
and what a clever take. It's always kind of great wordplay and
You know, again, there's so much personality in these. I think that's what, you know, Elise touched on, and you can see Austin did it as well. Really bringing some personality, all these different genres of music. I mean, wow,
loving
really cool.
the walk like Egyptian dude and the flamenco dancer there and all that. You got a favorite?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I'm leaning towards the DJs. What a funny thing to
course
put
you are,
an
yeah.
old classic night
Right.
behind a DJ table. So, wow, that was great work by Austin. We love seeing artwork. So, fans out there, please send in your artwork, any ages, whatever you have. We want to show it on the show. We want to talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and send your questions in too. And until then, see you next time.
Yep. Bye.